The circumstances associated with Mr. Zimmerman's record are something that the court and anybody who practices here in the Central Florida area is familiar with the situations that goes on at those establishments on the UCF corridor is the way I'll describe it. I think that's the best way. And so we're familiar with those particular situations. It's, I won't say a standard, but it's a run-of-the-mill type run-in with the alcohol beverage agents there at the library, I believe it was. Was that correct? At the library. They're fairly common, so I'm familiar with those, even though it's in another jurisdiction. The injunction was somewhat mild compared to the injunctions that I'm familiar with, and so really what this revolves about is the facts of this particular situation as presented to the court. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find that the motion is well taken. I'm going to grant the motion, set bond in the amount of $150,000 with the following conditions: electronic monitoring, GPS. I'm going to require the state and the defense to meet with the sheriff's department to accomplish it. That means that Mr. Zimmerman is not going to be released today, but I'm going to make sure that the state and defense can work out those assurances. And then if we need further hearing, again, to preserve the secrecy and to establish safety, as long as the state and defense can agree, that's fine with me, and the sheriff's department agrees, that's fine. If we can't, we can have another meeting with respect to that. There's to be no contact directly or indirectly with the victim's family or through an intermediary in any way. There is to be no possession of firearms, be they rifles, shotguns, handguns, pistols, revolvers, any type of firearm or destructive device. There's to be no consumption of alcohol. There's to be a curfew from 7 o'clock p.m. till 6 o'clock a.m. He is to advise the monitoring supervisor and the sheriff's department as to his location every 3 days. Are there any other special considerations the state wants me to invoke at this time?
Your Honor, we would request that he, obviously his attorney has the right, but have no contact with any of the witnesses in this case. And in fairness to Mr. O'Mara, he doesn't know who the witnesses are at this time, but...
Contact with the witnesses.
Understandable.
He can naturally go and meet with Mr. O'Mara. That's between Mr. O'Mara and his client, how they're going to arrange that, and due to the facts of this particular situation. Anything else you want me to consider?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, no use of controlled substances other than those lawfully prescribed to you by a licensed medical doctor. I mentioned no consumption of alcohol. Mr. O'Mara, anything else you need me to consider?
I'm asking that Mrs. Zimmerman be allowed to reside out of state, Your Honor.
And that's why I'm saying you need to talk with the state, you need to talk with the sheriff's department, work that out to see if it can be accomplished, and then if there's further discussion, you can bring it before me, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. There were some other issues. I think yesterday the press was somewhat concerned that we were holding the hearing outside of their presence. I think by virtue of the order that I entered, they saw what the purpose of that meeting was. It was purely for logistical purposes to figure out how to get Mr. Zimmerman dressed for the hearing and how to secure the appearance of the witnesses in a manner which preserve their safety. The state has indicated that they're very concerned about that with respect to their witnesses. The defense has indicated they're very concerned with that with respect to their witnesses. In light of that, I'm going to have to work, and I'm going to rely upon the state defense to assist me as far as what to do with the court file, because the media absolutely has a right to the court file. The state understands that, the defense understands that. I think at a preliminary, we need to work toward getting that information to the media with a redacted version as far as addresses and names. And state defense advised me if you have any objection with me working toward that right now, I'll give you the final product so you can okay it before anything's released. We can get that to the media as quickly as possible, and then we'll tentatively set a hearing for next Friday at 9 o'clock to allow the media to go ahead, and if they have any other further concerns at this time, to go ahead and voice them then.